What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This here's Legitical Response. We cover political news, and we're not talking about Donald Trump today. We're not talking about his assassination, so that's the last you're going to hear about that, folks. What we're talking about today is the Biden administration. Check this out, y'all. Federal appeals court blocks remainder of Biden's SAVE student debt relief plan. Yay, finally. See, that's what I don't get. But, okay, so they're blocking it. They're blocking his student loan relief program, blah, 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 BS. Right, well, hang on, though. The Supreme Court's already done this. And you know what the Biden administration said? We don't care. We're going to do it anyway. Well, they got sued again. Do you think that the Biden administration is going to just say, okay? No, they need to buy their voters, folks, at the cost of the U.S. taxpayer. This pisses me off. This kind of crap makes me angry because I don't want to pay for somebody else's student loan. It's bullshit, right? It's BS. It's just outright garbage. And I don't understand the government forcing me. I never went to college. By God, I didn't even finish high school. I chose to drop out and go work a job. That's what I chose to do. Was it the smartest thing ever? No, it wasn't. As a matter of fact, I'll agree with that. Was it the best idea? Maybe. I don't know, right? It hasn't hurt me, I don't think, because I definitely wasn't on the road to college. I wasn't getting caught up into that scam. If I would have went somewhere, it would have been a trade school or something like that, right? The trade schools, those are totally different. Those are well worth it, especially like welding, engineering and all this other garbage. I said garbage. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say garbage. Sometimes I say stuff and I don't mean to say that stuff. But I always apologize for that. But let's get into the story right quick. A federal appeals court blocked the implementation of the Biden administration's student debt relief plan, which would have lowered monthly payments for millions of borrowers. In a ruling Thursday, the Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals granted a motion for an administrative stay filed by a group of Republican-led states seeking to invalidate the administration's entire student loan forgiveness program. The court's order prohibits the administration from implementing the parts of the SAVE plan that were not already blocked by lower court rulings. The ruling comes the same day that the Biden administration announced another round of student loan forgiveness, this time totaling $1.2 billion in forgiveness for roughly 35,000 borrowers who are eligible for the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. The PSLF program, which provides relief for teachers, nurses, firefighters, and other public servants who make 120 qualifying monthly payments, was originally passed in 2007, but for years, borrowers ran into strict rules and servicer errors that prevented them from having their debt canceled. The Biden administration adjusted some of the program's rules and retroactively gave many borrowers credits toward their required payments. Two separate legal challenges to Biden's SAVE plan have worked their way through the courts. In June, federal judges in Kansas and Missouri issued separate rulings that blocked much of the administration's plan to provide a faster path toward loan cancellation and reduce monthly income-based repayment from 10% to 5% of a borrower's discretionary income. Those injunctions did not affect debt that had already been forgiven. The 10th Circuit Court of Appeals issued a ruling that allowed the department to proceed with the lowered monthly payments. Thursday's order from the 8th Circuit blocks all aspects of the SAVE plan. The Education Department said it was reviewing the ruling. Our administration will continue to aggressively defund the SAVE plan, which has been helping over 8 million borrowers access lower monthly payments, including 4.5 million borrowers who have had a $0 payment each month, the administration said. And we won't stop fighting against Republican elected officials' efforts to raise costs on millions of their own constituent student loan payments. Holy crap, y'all. That was the most biased take I think I've ever heard. But this ain't over yet. I just wanted to kick that out there because that's an update to an earlier story. I've got another story coming for you guys. This one's a whole lot more serious. But, you get that, right? Like, Democrats trying to blame Republicans. Oh, they don't want to help people. Get off your freaking high horse. I'm sorry. I don't want to be forced to pay for somebody else's freaking student loan. I'm sorry. If they're not willing to pay for it, right? Why did they go to college, right? That's the whole reason they went to college, to get a job. That's why. Did they not get their job? Then I'm sorry. I'm not paying for your college. I'm not. And if you got the job, I don't want to pay for your college. You pay for your own student loan, right? Like, I can't just go buy a bunch of tools, get a loan to buy a bunch of tools to start a construction company, and then get the rest of the country to pay that off. That makes no sense. Makes absolutely no sense. But that's what a college degree does. It gets you the base tools you need to get a job, to make a living, to provide for your family. So does a bunch of other things, right? But the government isn't trying to do a bunch of those other things, are they? No, they're not. Of course, if you let the DSA have it, we'll turn communist over freaking night. Yeah, the DSA, Democratic Socialists of America. That is a threat to actual democracy, y'all. Yeah, the Democrat Party's insane. And I'm going to wrap that story up right quick because this one is serious, y'all. And this is, once again, I'm doing this because my previous video, if y'all watched yesterday, what came out of nowhere, I'd already had these two stories. I was going to make two separate videos in this one from this one video, but I saw that story and I just had to cover it, y'all. It was crazy. But let's get into the next story because, man, oh God. Housing provider for unaccompanied migrant children engaged in sexual abuse and harassment, DOJ says. And they know about this. That's the bad thing. They knowingly put these people in these places. Well, and why? Why? We covered that story. So if you didn't see that video where I covered that story of the Biden administration officials, right? Homeland Security and CBP agents and some of these other agencies knowingly put unaccompanied migrant children that came across our border into housing with families so they wouldn't be put in camps because, yeah, knowingly put these people in housing where they got abused with some of them, right, get this, knowingly with gang members. What? That's nuts. And all because Joe Biden didn't want the whole label of putting kids in cages. Yeah, because he ragged on Donald Trump for that. Got into office. Of course, he already knew. He was vice president. He already knew the Obama administration did that, as a matter of fact, as well. Right? He always talks about, oh, they're separating families. That too. You know, the Obama administration absolutely did that as well, and they're trying to deny it. The corporate press will tell you, no, that was a Trump administration thing. These people are evil, folks. And if you think they're not knowingly doing this, the largest housing provider for unaccompanied migrant children has engaged in the severe, pervasive sexual abuse and harassment of children in its care, the Justice Department alleges. Southwest Key employees, including supervisors, have raped, touched, or solicited sex and nude images of children in its care since at least 2015. So this was happening under Obama, under Trump, under Biden. This has been going on for a while. And guess what? The DOJ has known about this since at least 2021. I'm sorry, 2020. The DOJ alleged in a lawsuit Wednesday. At least 2 employees have been charged since 2020, according to the lawsuit. Based in Austin, Southwest Key is the largest provider of housing to unaccompanied migrant children, operating under grants from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. It had 29 child migrant shelters, 17 in Texas, 10 in Arizona, and 2 in California. Children living there range in ages from 5 to 17. Among those allegations is the repeated abuse of a 5-year-old in the care of a Southwest Key shelter in El Paso. In 2020, a youth care worker at the provider's Tucson, Arizona shelter took an 11-year-old boy to a hotel for several days and paid the minor to perform sexual acts on the employee, the Justice Department alleges. That is ridiculous. For one, why would you pay the kid? Secondly, what is wrong with these people? The evil that you have to have in your mind to do something like this, right? Like, that is pure, unadulterated evil. And if the Biden administration knows this is going on and deliberately puts these children in these places where stuff like this can happen, right? Like, they might not knowingly give it to a child predator outright, but they know that places like Southwest Key have abused children in the past, and they're still going to give these kids there anyway. That is one of the most evil things, I think. I would drop this place right off the top. Stop letting these people come into the country. Stop it just outright. Don't let it happen. But, you know, what can you do, right? One of these coyotes drops a kid off at the border and just walks away. Just leaves the kid there. What are you gonna do? This world is insane, y'all. Like, I have compassion for these kids that just get dropped off. Like, where were these kids' parents? I would like for an investigation, go find this kid's parents and put these people in jail. Something. What is wrong with people these days? And then, on top of that, this is why I think this is one of the worst evil things that somebody can do, right? Like, you know, a child predator, I must just say it that way, a child predator is one of the most evil people in the world. But when you add on top of that, it was a migrant child that was just dropped off at the border with no parents, nothing, just dropped off by a cartel member. And then to take that child and to do something like this, this is one of the few instances where I think the death penalty should be a certainty, right? I'm sorry, that may be a strong take. You may not feel that way, and I'm against the death penalty for 99.9% of all situations. I'm against the death penalty. You know, you go and murder somebody, if it's just an outright murder, right? It just so happens to be extremely heinous, and you get the death penalty. I don't think that's right. I don't think the state has the right to issue that. But in a situation like this, if we can prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt, right? DNA and evidence and all this good stuff, if we can prove this, I have no problem with the death penalty on something like this. This is so egregious. I mean, and that kid that, you know, the victim or whatever, should never have to want for anything for the rest of that kid's life. At all. That's what I think. That's my opinion. Let me know what yours is. Health and Human Services Secretary Xavier Becerra said Thursday that the complaint raises serious pattern or practice concerns about Southwest Key. Well, why didn't you do anything to freaking stop it, dude? And you're still giving kids out to places like this constantly. Giving kids out to known drug dealers, known cartel members, right? Not known gang members, I'm sorry, not cartel members. They get them from the cartel members, but it's just insane what they're doing. All to not have kids in cages, right? Just so they don't get the optics of having kids in cages like Trump did. And that was just an absurdity, right? Like, these people come across the border, right? And they don't have IDs, and we don't know, right, with the human smuggling that's going on, what Trump was doing with this, separating these families like that. We don't know that that's that kid's parents. So we do a DNA test and find out. Is that such a bad thing? If that prevents a single child from getting trafficked into some sex ring or some abuse ring or whatever, right? Having them separated for 72 hours, I think that's a small price to pay. That's a very small price to pay. And they tried to come after Trump for doing that, talking about putting kids in cages, separating families. We just talked about that the other day. It's ridiculous, right? And another thing with that, you come across the border and break our laws to get here. Do you really think you're not going to get separated from your family, right? Like I said, you take your family on a drunken joyride, right? A drunken joyride, and you get pulled over. Do you think you're not going to get your kids taken away from you? These people are insane to think otherwise, right? Don't let them try to make you think that you're crazy because you approve of separating these kids at the border when they come across illegally. Just, to make sure that they're not being trafficked into some sex ring. To make sure of that, right? Like, they get reunited, of course. It's just utter absurdity what the Democrats will do to lie to get power. And that's all it's for. That's all this is for. That's the only reason the Democrats lie. What other reason would they have to lie except to get put back in power? To tug at your heartstrings, to make you feel bad, make you think, oh, Republicans are evil, aren't they? Orange man is Hitler. Yep. That's all it's for. That's all it's about. And they do it with no remorse. None whatsoever. They'll get out in front of national TV, in front of a camera, and just lie through their teeth for power. It's absurd. It's insane. It's sickening, and it's evil, folks. And that's something we need to root out. Can Donald Trump root out corruption? No, of course not. He can try. He can most definitely try, and I sure and hope to God that he does. And I hope he roots some of it out, but he's not going to get all of it out, folks. You'll never get all of it out. It's way too entrenched in Washington, D.C. to root out all that corruption. First, you'd have to get the lobbyists out of the out of there. No more lobbying Congress at all whatsoever. Let them vote by their conscience. Yep, that's what I say. No more lobbyists. No more fundraising like that. None of that BS. You want to raise money for your campaign? Do it through grassroots, by God. Don't allow congressmen to trade stocks either. Because that's insider trading, because they know that if they're going to subsidize some company, if they got some kind of bill coming up that'll subsidize this company or this company, they know to go buy stock before it happens. And then it happens. And then that stock goes through the freaking roof. Right? That's absurd. If they already have stocks beforehand, like a 401k or something like that, whatever, let that happen. But they shouldn't be allowed to actively trade on the stock market. That's another point of contention. But that one's not as bad, right? Like, insider trading as far as the congressman, yeah, it's corrupt, but it's not nearly as bad. It's not nearly as corrupt as the lobby interests, right? Like, these people, when they come into Congress, they're forced to raise $250,000 right off the top to be in good standing. And that's why anytime you hear a congressman say, I'm a congressman, blah, 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 whatever, I'm in good standing, that's what they mean, that they've gone out there, they've sucked up to lobbyists, and they've sucked up to these corporations to raise money to give to the RNC or the DNC or the RNCC or the DNC, whatever. Yeah, they have to automatically do that. And if they want to get on a damn committee, they have to go out there and raise more money, folks. They have to go out there and kiss up to more lobbyists and kiss up to more corporations to raise more money to get themselves on a committee. It's bull. It's outright bull. It's corrupt. That should not how it be. That should not be how it is. Should not be how it is, but it is. That's the system that we've made. And we wonder why it's crumbling. We wonder why it's so damn corrupt. But I'm sorry. I can't finish that story. Talking about that kind of crap just, I don't know, man. It just does something. It pisses me off. I go outside. I got a tree in the field behind my house. And I go outside with my axe and I just start chopping at that tree. That's how I get my frustrations out, yo. That's how I get my frustrations out. I cut down trees. Lord, it's crazy. We need to pray for this world, y'all. There's some evil, sick folks out there. There's some really evil, just dirty, grimy, evil people out there. And guess what, folks? Some of them work in government. And some of them represent you, possibly. But I think that's all I got for this one, y'all. I want to thank everybody for watching. And y'all let me know what y'all think. Yeah, I just did that backwards. I'm sorry. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comments section, because is this not just crazy that the Biden administration is doing all that allowing children to be put into these places where they could possibly get abused for optics reasons, because they don't want to be labeled as putting kids in cages. That is sick, and that is evil. But y'all let me know what y'all think. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching, and y'all try to have a good day and stay legitical. Peace.